Greetings, our dear viewers. Welcome to the Holy Drive. My name is Jimmy Hanks. And this evening I'm coming to you from Naguru Hill, where I'm honored to be hosting a veteran politician, a senior citizen, one of the pioneer pilots in Uganda, and the proprietor of so many companies, including Metro FM. He has been a vibrant leader in Uganda, and for many reasons, he's still being celebrated up to now. Ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman I have for you this evening is Captain Francis Babu. Before I bring him on board, I want to appreciate Harsh Suits at California Plaza IL50 and Moose at RD15. They are the gents that make me look awesome on set. Before I bring Captain Francis Babu on board, I'll take a small sip and I'll be right back with him. Captain, you're most welcome on the Holy Drive.
Thank you very much. It's called the Holy?
The Holy Drive.
The Holy Drive, okay.
Yes. How have you been?
Fine, thank you. As you know, as it is, under the circumstances, very well.
These days you're lost. We don't see you often.
No. First of all, going to town is like going into a third world war, the traffic. The things have changed, so we tend to go places near where we are staying. I go to Kabira Club, which is very near here, and the shops are nearby, and the church is nearby. So
wow, that's key.
As far as I'm concerned, that's enough.
Yeah. How is the family?
We are fine, thank you. We are all right. Of course, the other ones are big. They live by themselves. The younger one lives with us. His name is Francis.
My OB, actually.
He's going to university at MUBS, but he's going in his last year. So,
actually, the last time I met Madam Honorable, she had come at Kampala Parent School. She was awarding us after winning the inter-house competitions. That was my first time to meet her. I hope very soon I'll see her before I leave here. But thanks for hosting us this evening, Captain.
No, for Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, it is a pleasure because it is our national media, national station, and we need to support it. That is what we all should support. It is ours.
Yes, it's our own.
Yeah.
Hope the rest.
So the workers there must learn that people support them, but they should also show that they are being supported.
Yeah, that's one how we can push Uganda. We can market Uganda. You know, through even you see tourism. If you support your own things, tourism, that is Babu, buy Uganda, build Uganda. So, Captain, I have a lot of questions for you this evening, but I'll try to be brief. I'll go straight. Where do you come from?
I was born about 50 kilometers on Masaka Road, a place called Kamengo. You go inside, and the parish and the village is called Luwala Kiumu, and that is where I was born. I grew up in town around Rubaga Road. I went to Agri Memorial School, went to Nakivo Primary School, Makere College School, and eventually abroad.
Wow.
So I grew up in two places, both in the village and in the city.
But to a large extent in town.
Of course, schooling, because I only went to the other place during holidays. And those days, of course, it was not as smooth as it is now. The road was not even tarmacked when I was young. So it was a journey to go to our village.
So how was life back then in the village?
Very good.
Did you dig?
No. Of course, I used to imitate. But basically, no, really. We had people who did that. And our homestead is still there. But of course I knew how they were digging, I knew what they did, different things. I learned a few things here and there, looking after cows and things like that. Our people used to do it, so you learned.
You know, the people I've hosted on this show and have stories. One will tell you how they used to wake up at 5 to go and dig, hustle, but at the end of the day, God was able to lift them. But
I think we should be grateful at least you have somewhere to dig and hustle in the morning. There are people in this world who don't have anywhere to dig and who don't wake up at that time because they have nowhere to go. So if God gave you a place where you can wake up in the morning and go, so I disagree with those people. I think they are very lucky. Even if it was small, even if they were poor, they had something.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So how did you eventually, Joe, before you go into politics, back then in Uganda we didn't have, we didn't have a lot of planes. Things were not really that good. What inspired you at the end of the day to choose that career?
There are many things we didn't have as African, having been a colonial state which had just got independence. Of course, we didn't have too many things. Most of the things were mainly in Europe and in some countries where they were being made. Therefore, in my sincere opinion, that did not stop educational system to go ahead. We were educated in the normal system. The curriculum was British. We did Cambridge School Certificate and Higher School Certificate, and these were being marked in Britain. So we had that one from all the colonial time. Of course, they had revised it earlier on. And therefore, they taught us that these things existed. So when they talked about employment and the future and all that, they would talk about all those. They would talk about engineering, they would talk about medicine, they would talk about different things. And towards the end, they talked about civil aviation because Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania had East African Airways, which was based in Nairobi, but it was with the three countries. We also had air forces coming up with small aeroplanes. We had general aviation aeroplanes, the small ones, which were being used by tourists. So there were aeroplanes all right around. Of course, in our curriculum, the British, there are certain things they never included. In the university, as you very, very well aware, technical subjects were virtually discouraged. And the technical subjects here were in the Royal Technical Institute in Nairobi, where Ugandans would go for engineering. And usually it was at a lower level, eventually to become a full-fledged university, part of the East African university. So that goes with the other jobs. Aviation, they completely kept out because it was being, you see, the British and the Americans, their people started in the Air Force. It was the Air Force that fed the airline. So people were trained by the Air Force. Then eventually they would go into the airline. Of course, they would have to change into what they call civil aviation by doing mainly air law and many, many other things. But even my instructor was actually from the Air Force. So at the end of the day, we got to know, and some of us were interested. So initially, there were a lot of things that were going on at that time. We were not that many. Some people preferred to continue academically. Others went in different areas. Some became nurses. Others became doctors, and so on and so forth. I actually initially wanted to go to the States. I was mainly interested in aeronautical engineering. The United States Information Service invited someone. We did the interview. We passed. Somehow they had a meeting with the government and the people were changed and they brought different people who then eventually went to the United States. But that's that. That was in the 60s. East African Airways used to have exams for people who wanted to do engineering. And I went for the interview and I passed. I went to do engineering in East African Airways. In Nairobi, we were based in Nairobi, went to Kenya Polytechnic, and we had training at Embakasi in East African Airways hangars. When we finished that course towards the end, they elected some of us to become what they called flight engineers. Those days, an aeroplane would have a pilot, a co-pilot, and an engineer on board. But somehow, as fate would be it, they wanted some of us not to do engineer, but to go and do flying. And I did the interview and I passed it. And I was taken to Oxford Air Training School where we did the flying. And eventually came back to East African Airways, and they started training us. They trained us on small aeroplane. I started with an aeroplane called Twin Otter. I went on DC-3. I went on F-27. I went on F-27 as Fokker Friendship. I went on an aircraft called DC-9, usually as a co-pilot throughout. Then I went on a Boeing 707 as a co-pilot. came back and started as a captain all over again. Around that time, as I was becoming captain, we had a problem with East African community, and the airline was dismantled, and Uganda somehow was just beginning. Kenya remained with most of the aeroplane. They started, Kenya was Tanzania, started Air Tanzania. Uganda somehow struggled, but eventually started Uganda Airlines. By that time, I had left. I went to Nigeria Airways. I had met a lot of these people during my career. They gave me a job, and I worked in Nigeria Airways from 1977 to 1984 with Nigeria Airways. And I became a captain there. I flew from Lagos. We used to go to London. We went to New York. They would come to Nairobi, and so many different places. In 1984, they had a change of government, and some of us thought it was better to leave. I left, and I looked for a job in Saudi Arabian Airlines, which I got during training. I stayed there for a short period of time, and I came back to East Africa. Friends of ours had started airlines. One was called Gas Air, DAS Air, and we started flying with them. It was a private company. And that was the time when Uganda was beginning to have all these changes. In 1986, of course, there was a change, and some of us preferred to come back home. By that time...
Some don't want to come back when they reach outside.
No. I wanted to come back home, and I came back in 1986, 87. I thought the new group would be able to uplift this country. And I came back, started small businesses. I wanted to start my own business. And since that time, I've been here. I went through different things. So that is basically the snapshot.
Yeah, I love your summary. So what inspired you to join politics after quitting the other career? You come back to Uganda.
I don't know whether it is fate or, whether it is God's command, because during school I used to be in student leadership. When I went flying, I was in student leadership. When I went in East Africa, I was in pilots leadership. So I was always in leadership. But when I came back, and I was staying in Nakasero near All Saints Church, one morning in 1989, they told us that we should go and choose our local government, the RCs. So me and my friends walked up to the church, and then of course there were people who knew what had been going on, because in 1987 they had chosen people, and I think those people were giving out commodities. And I think some of them did not do very well. So there was a lot of complaints before the election. For out of blue, they proposed my name.
Wow.
And I was elected chairman RC1, Water Board Village. That is from Rwenzori Court, that in Nakasero Road, all the way up to... no. That's a different... No, City Square actually is not in Nakasero 2, it is in Nakasero 4, which is a bit south. So, Water Board, there would be YWCA Village, then there would be Lumumba Road, then there would be Water Board Village, then there would be Standard Village, which is the President Lodge. So there are villages there. So I became chairman of the village just below Standard Village. In the afternoon, they made us, all who had been elected, the 9 people, to go back to All Saints Church, and we did. And when I was there, I was proposed for LC2, RC2.
Wow.
And I was elected that afternoon as chairperson, and that was called Nakasero 2. Nakasero 2 had 11 villages, all the way up to near Fairway, all the way up to YMCA. On that Lumumba Road, anything below Lumumba Road, that would be Nakasero 3 and 4. Anything above, we have the court, the police, that would be Nakasero 2. So I became a chairman of that.
Wow.
And that started my project. I think it was a week or 2 weeks after we went to City Council. And the 9, that's the member of LC2. Kampala has got 20 parishes. nine will be 180 people, went to City Council. And they were told to choose another 9.
Oh.
So we were, again, I was proposed as chairman, but somebody else became chairman. I became the vice chairman. But by doing so, we became councillors automatically of Kampala City Council.
Wow.
That is how we became
So
Kampala
so
City
fast.
Council. Yes, yes, yes.
So you're the pioneers.
There was no money. So these things you people are talking about money and whatnot, I don't see why you were. So we can still elect our people without money.
That's true.
So that is how I ended up in our politics. Stayed there as a councillor. I was a chairman of a liquor licensing board, the chairman of a traffic committee. I was a member of the development committee. And that's how I learned how the council works, city council. And in 1990, somehow something happened. Our MP, who we had elected after that election, Mr. Ziri Twaura, I had stood against him. He decided he wanted to come back. So he got out, and on December the 4th, 1990, I stood for that, and I was elected as a member of the National Resistance Council, NRC. That's how I became an MP the first time, 1990. That was a year after they had elected that assembly. Stayed there until 1994, when they wanted us to do the constitution. The NRC had passed that anybody who wanted to be council had to stand to be elected as a delegate. So I stood in my constituency, again with some very interesting character. I was elected as a delegate. And I was part of those who did the constitution. So when the constitution was over, it was promulgated, 1995 constitution, 1996 we had elections, and I was elected as an MP for Kampala Central Division.
That was good.
So that is how it came about. I was elected again 2001 until 2006 when they decided to change. So that is how I became a political man. But I had this in school and everywhere, a leadership position.
It keeps on building up. To sum it up, how have you found that journey? Today you're retired.
I am not retired. I'm still alive, but I'm not going for elective politics.
Like
I will not go for elective politics anymore. But it has been invigorating. It has been, you learn a lot. There's no school that teaches you how to be a leader. You learn on the job.
Yeah, true.
And you learn, then you get all your etiquettes and your culture and everything, and your habits, and you mold yourself so that you fit in the society.
True.
But over the years, of course, you learn that eventually we're all human beings. Whether you're an MP, whether you're a minister, whether you're a president, we are Ugandans. And I think we should love our country, that's all.
Yes, we'll be patriotic. So Captain Francis Babu, I've heard part of your story in different fields you've been actively involved in. What are some of the things you look at today in Uganda, and you're not, as a veteran politician, you've seen it all, you've seen a lot. What are some of the things you feel like if you're given a chance to go back, you'd wish to change?
Well, looking at our history and all our problems, I think time has come for us to sit around and try and find a system that can work for our country. I've got a feeling we've adopted systems that don't seem to be working for our country. For example, I'd like us to look at multi-parties very seriously. Are they really helpful, or are they groups of people fighting each other? That's number one. Number three, are the models we adopted, the presidential system, the decentralization, and all this, are they working for us? Is our economy working well? What are the problems? So we need to sit down and review. I don't think we've done wrong. We did what we could in those last few years. Unfortunately, we now found out a few things cannot work as well as they should have. So we need to learn from our mistakes and correct them.
True.
And Unlike others, me, I don't cry over spilled milk. If we have made mistakes, let's correct them.
Before I leave politics, today our parliament, the parliament you had back then is different from the one of today. Do you feel the one of today is up to the standards that you had set back then?
That's a very difficult question, and it's a little bit unfair.
Okay.
Parliaments grow as an institution. They grow with the people themselves. The people we had in NRC, or the people who were there before we NRC, the other parliaments, were different. I don't think we should pit them against each other. The only thing I say is that I think the parliament today is too big. There are 529 people. I would have wanted 150, not more than 200 people as members of parliament. There are too many ministers. Our administrative costs are very high, and I feel by having a small parliament, small number of ministers, the money can be used in our social sector, which is health and education. So at the onset, let me put it this way, never compare parliament, because this parliament is still evolving. There are some standard things that they do, whether you are in my parliament when I was there, whether you are in this parliament. The committees are about the same. Of course, they have improved in the sense that they've got a track record, what they have done, and you've got minutes you can read, Hansard, where you can read where people are. So you can now improve your level of debate.
True.
But basically, it has a job, a function, and as long as they do that function well and good. Of course, whenever you have many people, you're bound to have a few people who are not doing a good job. They should check themselves and, if possible, improve. But as far as I'm concerned, a parliament is a parliament.
Okay, we are good to go. Captain, you're actually in the age bracket of my late father. You've been in Uganda for many years. You've lived for many years. In your time that God has given you, you've seen a lot of experiences you've had in life. How are you preparing the next generation that will come after you? Is there anything in your mind that you're trying to cook or you're doing to create or to leave a legacy behind in these young ones that are coming up?
Well, of course, whenever you have children, like I have had children, you bring them up the best way you know. Children are brought up in the culture where you come from, in religion, and when they go to school. All those three put together form a human being. And then a few other things that they pick up from other people. What is it that you would like first of all, education has improved tremendously. There are more educated young men and women than there were during our time. Most of them now have gone to universities, they have master's degrees, they have diplomas, they have all sorts of qualifications.
True.
And therefore, I expect anybody who has gone to university or any institution is bound to have discipline. Now, I'll tell you a very quick story I picked up from a young man who has just started a company, a cyber security company that is using online to fight fraud that people put on the banks and different people. So I told him, you're very lucky. You have a lot of young people who are very highly educated. He said, yes. He looked very disappointed. I said, what's the problem? He said, a lot of our young people are highly educated, been to very good university, and unfortunately they have no character.
Sure.
Now, you're asking me, what is our problem? Our problem, how do we make our children have character? The children themselves have to work with us to create that character. A character cannot be instilled. It has to come within you. How do I behave? What are the behaviors? You see, our educational system is now based on passing exams, not of creating a whole human being. My contention is that even the syllabus which they are teaching has to be reviewed very seriously so that they can include a bit of character.
Moral.
Well, character brings in moral ethics and many others. Now, you find the European create character using sports. A school is got a big amount of sports as compared to academic. So the character of these children is formed in sports. One of the biggest sports, which a lot of people have never realized, is rugby.
Yes.
The people who play rugby have got character. The people who play cricket have got character. The people who play football well have got character. They are formed to have character because they are playing with another person, and therefore there is what they call sportsmanship spirit.
Okay, now I understand it.
Now, we need to enhance our relationship with our younger generation so that they can have character.
True.
You cannot do anything unless if you have got character. Everything you do, whether you are a cook, whether you're a driver, whether you're in media, whether you must have character.
That's very key.
The way you are dressed alone, that means character is forcing you to dress that way. The way you behave, the way you comb your hair, the way you talk, the way you respect other people.
That's very true, Capt.
So what we need for the next generation, how can we instill and enhance character in our young generation? Now, if you look at other people, the Far East, India, for example, the Indian, the father in a home is a demigod. What he says is final. Now, it doesn't sound very good, but that's why the Indians have certain character. The British believe the other way around, that everybody, God is for us all. Sorry, God is for us, God is for everybody. No. Everybody for himself, God for us all. Everybody is himself, God then helps us. No. We need to work a little bit harder. So, in my sincere opinion, we need to look for a syllabus that is going to instill our culture, and we can get a common denominator of all our cultures so that we have what we call a Ugandan value.
And that's very true, Captain. Actually, it has come up in the time when they're trying to draft a new curriculum to follow. Maybe you can advise them in case it gets space.
Yes. They should also do their research.
Yes, Captain.
So these are the kind. You asked me what would you ask the young people to do? I would ask them to stop for a moment and find out, do they have character? Is your character acceptable or is it objectionable? How do you behave? Are you somebody who is looking for visibility rather than being have humility and have a bit of ethics? It's all up to you. So the young people have a big job. And most of it is you, not somebody else. You have to decide to make it.
It's a personal decision.
That's right.
For the time you've been on Earth, Captain, you've done your part. I strongly believe you've done your part. Within yourself, do you feel you've run your race? You're satisfied within you, you feel like you're contented? Do you have regrets in life anyway?
First of all, I've not been on Earth only. Having been a pilot, I was much more in the air also.
I love that. True.
Of course, you can never be completely satisfied. You wish you could do things even a bit more. But that's what God gives you. That is your lifespan. And you do what you can, and you do it until you switch off. So as far as I'm concerned, we continue to talk to people. I give inspirational talks to some people when they call me. I talk to a lot of young people, and I do not judge the book by the cover. So I talk to everybody equally, regardless.
True. Do you have regrets in life?
Oh, human beings have a lot of regrets.
And you say, maybe I would have done like this. Maybe.
There are many things. I can't even remember some, you know. You know, human beings have that nature. Oh, I wish I had done this. I wish I was done this. I mean, you can't wish, you can't. I mean, that's not you. Is it? Yours is done. Other people will get it. No, I don't regret really. Life, I think God has been kind to me.
True. I've been hearing you mentioning God over and over, and I believe you're a religious man. You love God. I've heard your story, the many things God has given you the grace to do. At times, you be there and you're successful, and at times people think it's because of their making, but at times by the grace of God. So as a captain, a politician, how is your relationship with God?
Human beings are spiritual, even you. We are all spiritual. You choose where you want to go and exercise your spiritual inspiration, which is within you. It's within you, it's not outside you. You could be a Muslim, you could be a Catholic, you could be an Anglican, you could even use the local religion. True. Now, the local religion, a lot of people have never realized this, but before the British came here, we had our local religion. In fact, our kings were the head of our churches. The problem is that we've never had people to write it down. True. Like the Bible. And they never separated the things which are not good. All religions have got the good forces and the negative forces. What happens in the local religion, they mix the two, which is not good. But local people have got their spiritual religion. Let me ask you something today. Yes, Captain. You're a young man. What does the word Esabo mean?
Esabo.
In Luganda. A place where you go to pray.
To pray, yes.
Now, why is it when people say it, people laugh? Because it is a local thing. Why don't they say Katonda? Why don't they laugh? Katonda is a vernacular word. Egguru is a vernacular word. Omuliro is a vernacular word. So, Mwoyo is your soul.
Yes.
Mwoyo mutukirivu. You know? So, when you hear people talking, it's because, I'm sorry, they don't reason a little bit beyond that. Local people had their places where they prayed. The only problem is that they never had people write it out so that we could differentiate between the good side and the bad side. But every religion, by the way, don't be surprised. Every religion have got people who believe in those. Did you know that there are people who put the cross upside down?
Yes, they are there.
Did you know there are people who read these books and they get things out which they use to say that they are working on people's spiritual problems? So, exorcism, ever heard of that?
Yes, I do.
It's a religious thing. So, at the end of the day, human beings are spiritual. In my case, I grew up in a home which was Catholic, Roman Catholic. I was baptized in Zambia. I was confirmed in Zambia. So, as far as I'm concerned, I believe in God, but I believe in the positive side of my spirit.
Wow. And is there any significant contribution that you've made in the kingdom of the Lord, in church? As you can say, in my time as captain, I was able to do this for the sake of God.
I'm sorry, I do not like that. I think that is showing off. I have participated in a lot of church affairs. I don't have to enumerate. I think that is rather, I would call it unfortunate. If somebody starts saying, I did this, I did that, so, thank you very much. I think we all contribute in one way or the other, and we contribute to the church, and we respect the church. My church. But I've also been to other churches. I've also been to mosques. I respect all religious route that people take. Muslim, an Anglican, Catholic, Orthodox, and all the other churches which you know.
Yeah.
And I respect all of them.
Yeah, that's mutual respect. At the end of the day, we are all human beings made in God's image.
And there's nothing wrong as if you follow the right path.
Yes, that's very true.
But there are people who go to those religions and follow the wrong path.
Yeah, very many. They are there and their hearts are not there. They're just there physically.
We've just had one in Kenya where somebody said, you better starve to death so you can go to heaven. There was somebody in Guyana who gave people poison and they died.
Yes.
There's a man here called Kiwetere. He did the same thing. So these are all the negative sides of it. It's very unfortunate, but it happens in the world.
Yes. What are some of those things, Captain, the Lord has done for you that every time you think about them, you get more humbled and you acknowledge the glory of God?
He's given me life. My life. There are others who have gone, but He's given me life, a reasonable life. Really, you can't ask much more. The life decides, it's the common denominator. The rest comes. Once you have life, the rest will come.
Yeah, life is precious,
yes.
But some don't know that. That by just you living, waking up and you're able to move to town and you come back, it's by the grace of God.
Yes, yes. Life is very good. Very good.
But you're good, you're happy?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'm extremely happy. My offsprings are grown up. Some of them are married. I've got grandchildren. The other day one was here, so I'm quite happy.
Yes, when you see your grandchildren, that's your joy.
The gift of life is something you should never play around with.
You tell them, some take it for granted.
No. The gift of the life is a common denominator, and those who want to take other people's lives is very unfortunate, but in the laws of karma, it will come back to you.
True, Captain.
So you don't play with the people's lives.
True. As we end up this show, Captain, how are you planning to spend the remaining years God is giving you on this earth? Because today, there are things you used to do 20 years back that you may not be able to do today. And I believe today there is a lot you can still do within your capacity where you are today. How are you planning to spend the rest of your time?
Well, I can't run 100 meters for Olympics. Nor can I play boxing for the World Cup. But there are many things I can do. I've got a little farm. I can go to my farm. I can do a few things here and there. I still am involved in businesses I'm involved in organizations where I'm on the board, and I'm quite happy. I'm not completely out of the world. I still do a few things, and those good, they're good enough. Of course, I don't run. And running now is a problem. Even running on the road, somebody can knock you. So it's better to go to a gym and walk a little bit of swimming. I enjoy my music. I put it on and listen. I enjoy reading. I read a lot of books. And probably that's the reason why I put on glasses. There are many things you can do.
Wow, that's very
But
good.
I'm no longer anxious of things. I can do things accordingly, depending on my time. I traveled so much as a pilot that I'm no longer anxious of going to other countries.
I know.
I've been to Britain, to America, to South America. I trained in Varig in Brazil. I trained in Seattle in America. I've been to Washington, D.C. There's nothing really I'm looking for.
I'm telling you. Today someone travels just to Kenya here and he wants to post an entire village gets to know about his journey to Kenya. But for you, God
No, but there's nothing wrong with that. The other day I was on social media and they put a young lady who was flying the first time on Uganda Airline from Entebbe, and she was shouting in the airplane. And she was telling people, see that one, and shouting on top of her voice. And all the passengers laughed their heads off until Nairobi. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, why not? She's happy, In fact, I said I would not be embarrassed. I would tell her, come and see even more. That was good. She showed her She opened up.
Yeah, she opened up.
Yes.
And once in a while, it's normal. It can happen to
There's
anyone.
nothing wrong with that. No?
Yes.
If somebody wants to tell us he was at Uhuru Park in Nairobi, or he was at a shop, or he went to one of the malls, why not? Why not?
So, Cap,
You should allow people to feel free.
I know it's a free world. You don't have to be like as if you're in a prison. Move, do what makes you happy.
You should never stop other people. Let them enjoy themselves. After all, life is short.
Very short. One time I was interviewing Brigadier General Felix Kureije, and he told me that for him it's very okay. If he gets what to eat, fuel, and his children are okay, the rest he doesn't care. After all, what he owns on earth is 2x6. You know, you get what I mean, 2x6? He owns the grave where you're going to put him. The rest he doesn't care.
He's lucky he's not cremated. Then he would not even have that grave. If he was cremated, the rest would go in the sea, and a small amount would be put in an urn.
I know.
Somebody, a friend of ours, the other day I'm told was cremated. Cremation, they only bring your ash. Yes. So, what's life, after all? So like I told you, gift of life brings everything.
True.
And you should thank God for anything you get.
Very true, Captain. So according to how do you take life to be?
When you sleep at night and you wake up in the morning, there are 24 hours in a day. There's time to pray, time to eat, time to work, time to sleep. Isn't it?
True.
So in between there, you have time for everything. Now, that brings about discipline and character. How do you follow that timetable? How's your timetable? How's mine? So it's extremely important, very, very important,
Yes.
that you realize what is the truth. There are 24 hours in a day. How do you divide it? If you say you divide it for 8 hours, fine. If you want to divide it 6 hours, that's fine. It's up to you how you do your work. But very clearly, whether it is the Bible, whether it's the Quran, your food will come out of your sweat. So you must work.
Yes, Captain.
Yes.
Wow, that's food for thought. As we wind up this show, Captain, give us your advice to the young generation. I usually focus on them because I'm aiming at inspiring the young generation. Through you, people have been there. Today, many youth are messed up. They're drug addicts. They are caught up in the world. What's your advice to the young generation? And also give us your last remarks, and you call it.
Well, first and foremost, when we are born, the minute you fall on the floor, you're controlled by your culture. If you're born in a family, the culture of that family takes over. They've got ways they bring in children and how they must look after them. Second point, you as you grow up, you go to school. Before you go to school, you are baptized, or you are circumcised, or whatever it is, whatever religion you have. But what is most important of all is that your parents must teach you love. They must show you love. Some of the things you are talking about is a misconception by children thinking they are not loved. All those things you've just described, kids think they are not loved. Of course, there are those who are not loved because their parents are not there, they are orphans, and sometimes they grow up in other people's homes. And those are very unfortunate. What I would like to advise all of you and the youth is that the reason you go to school and then you do exams, they are training you to face challenges in life. When you walk, when you're working, the challenges that you get, those are exams. So the tests you do in school, the exams you do in school, the questions you answer in school, those are the challenges of life.
Okay.
They are preparing you because every day in life there's a challenge.
True.
A few minutes ago I was in traffic, it was a challenge. But I learned how to be patient with it, how to go into it, and how to learn how to get out of it. That is a challenge. These are things you must learn as you go along, that life is a challenge. Everything in life.
Yes.
Even getting a girlfriend is a challenge. Even getting married is a challenge. And avoiding things to kill you. By the way, the things you've just talked about, in the Bible is there. Do not put things in your body that will kill your body, because God gave you a body. Don't kill it by putting in intoxicants, alcohol, drugs, and whatnot, because you are killing your body. The feeling you get, which is temporary, but your body will be destroyed. So the question is with our young people, do you understand that you must protect your body? And by protecting your body, it means you should not put anything in your system that will destroy your body. And alcohol is one of them, drugs is another, and many others, that some things you're not supposed to eat. So I just wanted to imagine, if your parents were giving you poison from the day you were born, you would not be there.
Of course.
And the things you're talking about are actually poison. They might not kill you immediately, but eventually after some time they'll kill you. So that's another challenge. How do you answer that question? Do you take them or not take them? So this is what we need to look at and think very carefully and stop thinking, I'm weak. You are not weak. Every human being has got that power of resistance and challenge.
Very true, Captain.
I'd like to thank you very much, and I wish all the young people to think about finding solution to their problems and not to take it to other people to find solutions for you.
Okay. I love that. I've also learned it. Thank you for that advice, Captain. When you're speaking, you're my father, so I honor you very much. Thank you very much, Captain, for honoring our invitation.
Oh, thank you, and thank you, UBC, and thank you all the young people who might listen to this. It's very, very important.
Yes.
We need inspiration. We need our people to realize. Another point is, we as Africans must not adopt cultures of other people.
True.
Should fight them. Bad culture, not good. They have good cultures and bad culture, but the bad culture we should not adopt.
Wow.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you on the Holy Drive. Thanks for hosting us, for coming to you from Naguru Hill, but visited Captain Francis Babu. It's been a pleasure. I shared a lot. I know you've picked one or two words from his statements. Such gentlemen are rare to find in this world. If you still have a chance of getting one or two words from them, kindly grasp and use them to transform yourself and the society. I'll end with this quotation I love so much. It says, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Let's live as brothers and sisters. At the end of the day, this world is not our home. It's been a pleasure having you on the Holy Drive. I remain Jimmy Hanks. Till next time, I love you all. Akume hatakumira mpera.